In this section, we will learn about the different parts of the resume. Data has shown that 91.7% of the candidates submit their resume without differentiating on the basis of these important parts. So let's discuss them in detail. The assertion section. Here you make assertions about your abilities, qualities, and achievements. You write powerful but honest advertising copy that makes the reader immediately perk up and realize that you are someone very special. Just look at these two resumes and tell me, just look at these two resumes and tell to yourself which looks better. And if you were the employer, which one would have excited you to call the candidate for an interview? The content of both these resume is exactly the same. I am sure you would have chosen the right one. Unless you are looking for a lazy, boring person for your job. Would you not spend more time reading the right resume? Because your neurons have been fired, and this resume has successfully ignited your curiosity to know more about the person. Well, the real catch is in the assertion section. When a prospective employer finishes reading your resume, you want them to immediately reach for the phone to invite you for the interview. The resume you have written in the past have probably been a gallant effort to inform the reader. Trust me, you don't want them informed, you want them interested and excited. In fact, it is best to only hint at some things. Leave the reader wanting more. Leave them with a bit of mystery. That way, they have even more reason to reach for the phone. The assertion section usually has 2 or 3 sections. In all of them, your job is to communicate, assert and declare that you are the best possible candidate for the job and that you are hotter than a party on the sunny beach. You should conclude assertions part of your resume with your skills and accomplishments. I have discussed this in detail in the skills and accomplishments section of the lectures in this course. The evidence section. This is the section where you back up your assertions with evidence that you actually did what you said you did. This is where you list and describe the jobs you have held, your education, etc. This is also the stuff you are obliged to include. Make sure your dates are consistent and that you don't confuse your story with overlapping timelines. Most resumes are just the evidence section with no assertions. If you have trouble getting to sleep, just read a few resumes each night before going to bed. Nothing puts people to sleep better than the average resume. Trust me on that. You start by naming your intended job. This may be in a separate objective section or may be folded into the second section, the summary. If you are making a change in a new field or are a young person not fully established in a career, start with a separate objective section. The third and again a very important part, that is the summary. The summary of qualifications consists of several concise statements that focuses the reader's attention on the most important qualities, achievements and abilities you have to offer. Those qualities should be the most compelling demonstration of why they should hire you instead of other candidates. It gives you a brief opportunity to telegraph a few of your most sterling qualities. It is your one and only chance to attract and hold their attraction, to get across what is most important, and to entice the employer to keep reading. This is the spiciest part of the resume. This may be the only section fully read by the employer. So it should be very strong and convincing. The summary is the one place to include professional characteristics. For example, extremely energetic, a gift for solving complex problems in a fast paced environment, a natural salesman, exceptional interpersonal skills, committed to excellence, etc., which may be helpful in winning the interview. Gear every word in the summary to your targeted goal. So let's understand how to write a summary. Think and write about what would make someone the ideal candidate. Look for the qualities the employer will care about most. Then look at what you wrote about why you are the perfect person to fill that need. Pick the stuff that best demonstrate why they should hire you. Assemble it into your summary section. The most common ingredients of a well-written summary are as follows. Of course, you would not use all these ingredients in one summary. Use the ones that highlight you best. For example, a short phrase describing your profession, followed by a statement of broad or specialized expertise, then followed by 2 or 3 additional statements related to any of the following: breadth or depth of skills, unique mix of skills, range of environments in which you have experience, a special or well documented accomplishment, a history of awards, promotions, or superior performance commendations, one or more professional or appropriate personal characteristics, a sentence describing professional objective or interest. So, while writing your summary, you should consider these as common ingredients. If you are making a career change, your summary section should show how what you have done in the past prepares you to do what you seek to do in the future. If you are a young person, new to the job market, your summary will be based more on ability than experience. This is the example of how the summary should be written. Always include numbers to your experience. Always remember to quantify your achievements. We will discuss this in detail later in this course. So when you look at this example, we have added the numbers twice. This actually gives a great credit to the candidate because exact number is always better than something where the employer has to guess. So it is very much recommended that you add numbers to the summary section to make it quantifiable, including photos and personal details in resume. Some career experts will tell you that you should never ever put your photo on your resume. In the end, deciding whether to put your photo on a resume is a symbol of large issues that you need to figure out for yourself. Rather than delegating out to know-it-alls like myself. In certain parts of the world, it's illegal to consider factors like age, race, gender, religion, national origin, sexual orientation, or disability status in hiring decisions. So hiring authorities prefer to not officially know whether you are a member of one of these protected classes. If you put a photo on your resume, you reveal some of those details. If the employer later interviews you but doesn't hire you, it opens the possibility of a discrimination claim. Some companies will even flat out reject resumes with photos just to avoid that potential accusation. So, if you must include your photo in a resume, do it only when you have researched enough about the company and you're 100% certain about including your photograph, or have a written communication from the HR of that company asking you to do so. It is always preferred not to include your photo in a resume to comply with all the standards around the world. Unprofessional email addresses are just one way of sending hiring managers the wrong message. If you want to be taken seriously when you apply for jobs, you need to put some polish on your resume, your cover letter, and everything contained therein. Hiring professionals repeatedly run across these red flags that scream unprofessional. A number of recruiters and HR managers have shared with me this as the common errors from their own professional experiences. Email accounts are free. There is no reason not to sign up for your own. Yet, many mid-career professionals share an email account with a significant other or the entire family, generating addresses such as Rick and Kim @ some xyzdomain.com or the Robertson brothers @ some xyzdomain.com. Also, stay away from cutesy addresses. After all, lovely cute girl 2020 @xyzdomain.com. You can always share your cuteness with your colleagues after you have been hired, but putting that in your resume is a big disaster. The same is for offensive, flirtatious, or sexual email addresses. You think I'm exaggerating? Well, these are actual email accounts cited by Mr. Goel, who is responsible for hiring as the program manager for an Indian multinational corporation that provides business consulting, information technology, etc. Instead of such unprofessional email address, adopt an address that incorporates the name you use professionally on your resume and cover letter. Research shows that 56% of the resumes that the recruitment agencies got had typos and spelling mistakes. This is a very deadly and worst form of mistake one can ever do. This causes an everlasting wrong impression no matter how good your resume looks like or how well you have advertised yourself. To avoid such mistakes from happening, first, you must get your resume reviewed from your friends and family. Second, once you have spent around 10 hours going through your resume, you would be aware of the words and their placements, which further makes it difficult to point out typos and spelling errors. So, the best thing to do in such scenarios is you increase the font. Then you decrease the font. Take a printout of different fonts and review again and again before your resume is 100% error-free. This is a no error zone. Even 0.001% error cannot be tolerated here. If your resume is strong enough to convince the recruiter or hiring manager to reach for the telephone, be sure what he or she finds at the other end of the line represents you in the best light. That means your voicemail or whoever might answer the phone should sound professional and confident as it portrays in your resume. Use of words like etc. on a resume is a sign of laziness. This creates an image in the prospective employer's mind that the job seeker obviously can't even take the time to list out all of his or her duties. How can we trust him or her with our such important work? Another no-no is saying same as above anywhere on a resume. If you had similar job functions at your last 2 jobs, summarize the responsibilities and then bullet out some of your accomplishments. But never ever use same as above. It creates a great deal of negative impression. So be aware.